It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the head coach for Central Arkansas head beach volleyball, Coach Cassidi Stabile. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you, Brandon?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching as a beach volleyball coach?
I've been involved in sports pretty much my whole life, and I think coaching is such a great way to give back. I love everything about beach. Beach is so great, both almost individual and team at the same time. And whenever the expansion of beach came into college, I knew I had to be a part of it.
Of course, what was that like going to Florida Tech to play indoor volleyball?
It was good. So I knew I wanted to play in college. I was actually late to the game. My mom wanted me to play volleyball, and I was like, "That's your sport. I don't want to do it." So I didn't start until high school, and I really pushed, learned a lot, and it was great to have that calling. That's actually where I found out about beach. I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where there isn't water. So I didn't know that beach existed until I went to Florida, and that's that started my whole journey.
Of course, what was it like getting to put on that jersey for the Florida Tech?
There's something just so special about being part of a collegiate team. You're playing for your school, you're playing for your state, you're playing for those that are around you, and it's so much fun. It's work, it's a grind, and whenever you put on that jersey, it's go time, and you get to see pretty much all that hard work come in, and you get to battle it out. It's very special.
While at Florida Tech as a player, what were some of your biggest accomplishments?
I think for me, just since I only played there for 1 year and then did make the transition out to beach, just kind of personally, it was kind of learning the process and getting that first step into just collegiate athletics. I got recruited as a right side and transitioned into the middle. So lots and lots of learning curves. It's too long ago. I don't remember stats. I just remember, experiences, and it was really just a stepping stone to get me to where I am now.
How did obviously that one season playing volleyball help you into deciding that you wanted to become a coach and get to coach beach volleyball?
Yeah. So my coach and I didn't really see eye to eye very often. I wanted to kind of push, and I was very inquisitive, and I wasn't always the best teammate. I'll just tell you right now. Lots of learning curves. But finding that balance, and school balance was rough to me, how to figure that out. And college athletics and just going to college in general is such a fantastic time to figure yourself out. And so I would never have had that experience, and it wouldn't mean very much to me right now and today, and how I approach collegiate athletes. So I think that's where I kind of got the most out of that, is for the future.
Coming out of college, what was it like getting into coaching and coaching at New Mexico Premium?
Yeah. So like I said, New Mexico is very tiny, looking at the grand scheme of the country's volleyball. And it's great. There's so many great people, and it's so overlooked at times. And so really working to grow the sport and grow recognition for Albuquerque and New Mexico, and the awesome athletes that are coming out of there.
What was that like, obviously getting to coach indoor volleyball along with beach volleyball for Mexico Premium?
Oh, it was fantastic. So we started the first beach scene in New Mexico. There was a group of us adults that were playing and realized that if we love playing this much, why not start growing the sport? It was just starting to come into college athletics. So now there's opportunity for scholarship. Now there's a whole different way to get into college and have that experience paid for, as well as growing our sport. And so being kind of ahead of the curve and starting that, being the first in the whole state, that's probably one of my top accomplishments. And it still is near and dear to my heart. I check in with them all the time. And so it's something to kind of get ahead and start building something from scratch. So it was amazing.
How did that time at New Mexico Premium help you to get your first college coaching job at a community college?
So we were doing really, really well and kind of growing. We went to several nationals. We're starting to do well. We were growing the amount of players and the level of players. And it was actually really hard to leave whenever I got that call. It was actually one of my previous teammates that I met in Florida, and she was looking for an assistant, and it wasn't actually on my radar. I didn't think, oh my gosh, this is a career opportunity for me. And so when things just kind of happen and they happen great like that and on purpose, I think you should jump on it. It can be scary, and you might not know what's going to happen, but the amount of doors that open are incredible. So it was a friend of a friend, friend of a teammate who I hadn't talked to in 8 years, but because of kind of the grind and the build, she felt that I was in a position to add value to her program.
Of course, what was that like, obviously working on the community college level, getting to coach those college students?
I'm so thankful for my time there, and just the experience of the junior college level and the things and benefits that they have. It's a little bit different in that recruiting, they're only there for 2 years, and then they're almost getting re-recruited out, and that's the goal, is to get them to where they want to be into their 4 year. And as a player, I didn't realize it was such a valuable and great pathway to go to. Really, it helps you save money. It helps you kind of work on those time management skills and the connections that the junior college coaches have with the 4 year institutions are really, really helpful and beneficial. So it was kind of another just stepping stone to kind of get me to where I am now, and understanding all those kind of nuances that being a collegiate coach comes with, that you don't really see because of all the behind the scenes things. It's not just practice. That's just the fun part.
What was that transition like from going from being a community college coach to a Division I coach and going to Stephen Austin?
So it was insane how much that I learned. So Alex Luna is the head beach coach at Stephen F. Austin, and he is absolutely phenomenal. He was an absolutely fantastic mentor. I learned so much from him every single day. We talked about everything that could even be incorporated with beach. And so just his kind of overall knowledge and view of things were second to none. That's just him as a person. I think the Division I transition and now having a 4 year is also it's a huge jump in talent level. It's a huge jump in intention and ability and drive of athletes. So those are just kind of the things that I learned. But because of the support system that I had at SFA, it was pretty seamless for me.
During your time at SFA, what were some of your biggest accomplishments as an assistant coach for the beach volleyball side?
I would say that just the relationships I had with some of the girls, and trying to help Alex as much as I can. I don't know about an accomplishment necessarily, because I think it's definitely more team oriented. Both him and the girls. I think where I added value a little bit was looking at kind of the non-volleyball skills stuff. So I'm super into kind of like leadership training and some mental variation, perception kind of things, and a little bit more of the hippie side. I'm way more vibey than they're kind of used to. So just adding a little bit of a different perspective and lens, I think is more of what I brought to the table. I don't know if that's accomplishment or not, but I think that was what I had to offer.
What was that feeling like when you accepted the job as a head beach volleyball coach for Central Arkansas?
Surreal. It was absolutely surreal. It was just another thing that kind of fell into place that I didn't know was going to happen. It was a little bit of, yes, I'm going to try to do these things, but I didn't think that I had a full shot. And I think that's really where you need to, things are in your way, and it's if you're brave enough to go and try. But it was probably like 2 weeks after accepting the job that I was still like, this isn't my life. Like, this isn't real right now. And it's been just an amazing ride.
What was that feeling like, honestly, when you did get accepted the job and you became a head coach for the first time for Central Arkansas?
But I mean, like I said, I don't mean to repeat myself, but it was so surreal, and it was something that I felt like I was ready for, but wasn't sure that I had enough experience. I wasn't sure if I could, get there and like run something all the way. I had so little of these experiences, but just kind of accepting that for myself, and you know taking that opportunity, really. I had almost limited myself in where I thought that I was, when everyone around me is like, no, you're gonna be fine. Like, no, you're gonna be fine. And so not putting those ceilings on yourself, just because of either fear of failure or self-doubt, push for it. And why not? Because if you do the work, like you're gonna get there.
Have you been able to build the culture for Central Arkansas and build it as your own program?
We are definitely in transition. So my approach was almost completely different, and opposite of kind of the culture before, which is totally fine. Every coach and every program has their different things that they do. But it's just a learning curve. And so I think that we're definitely progressing, and I think we're progressing at a very fast rate. But that's one of the things that I absolutely love to build, and I'd like to put a lot of energy into, and the players are putting almost as much energy into getting there as well. So it's a work in progress. It's coming along, but definitely different
Of
from the
course,
past.
in your first 2 seasons as the head coach for the beach volleyball program, what are some of your accomplishments so far that you've achieved?
First is our courts look good. So really taking pride and effort into maintaining your courts, and having a place where you put your effort into, and then when people come in, you're going to fight harder for that. So that kind of cultural, I guess, like adjustment has been really great to see. And you can see it within the girls. They're starting to look and be like, ooh, like, this little nuance, I can now see the little things, and the little things make a big difference. So a little bit of that, and kind of opening up the atmosphere to questioning and having the girls work on having a voice and sticking to their guns and having difficult conversations. We're working to get there, and so that is a huge accomplishment for me, is just getting them to the point where they feel, I don't know what the word is necessarily, but almost confident and unapologetic for their opinions.
Of course, having a program in Central Arkansas in the middle of the South, what has that been like, obviously, having that program and building that beach volleyball culture?
Yeah. No one thinks of beach volleyball when they hear Arkansas. We hear that all the time. And that is definitely a goal that we have within the program of, just because we aren't on water side, doesn't mean that we can't do great things. Other than this weekend, which we just got a little bit of a cold spell that went through, we can play outside most of the time, and there's very good players even within Arkansas that are coming up. Beach is in general coming up so fast, and there's so many great players. So that's definitely a goal that we have. Actually, within Conway, there's 2 beach programs. And we're within a few blocks of each other, so that's just kind of like a fun fact within Conway. But we're actually also working to try to get men's beach kind of up and going, and in the area. They're making a really big push for that, just within AVCA, which is the American Volleyball Coaches Association. So beach is here, beach is live. We might not think it, but we're pushing, and we're looking to do great things.
Who are some of the teams that you face each week in your competitions?
Yeah, so we often go, I call it kind of our bubble a little bit right now. So we often go to Stephen F. Austin, ULM, which is University of Louisiana Monroe. We'll go and play Missouri State. We'll go over to LSU, TCU. Those are probably the closest that we have. Beach is a little bit in transition right now because just this past year, our national championship bracket opened up a little bit. And so there's some automatic qualifiers that are within different conferences. We're currently within the ASUN conference. And so we have an automatic bid, but there's just a lot of bid things kind of going on. So we'll play within the ASUN conference championships, which are in North Florida this year. And hopefully we're going to do well there, but there's not necessarily a conference schedule set up right now that we play. So it's a little bit of Wild West figuring out scheduling, but those are probably our closest.
Of course, what is that like, obviously, getting to play some of those non-conference teams like in Florida, but then go to the California side and play teams like UCLA and Stanford?
Oh, it's awesome. So, and that's something that we really strive for and try to get in their way. It's difficult to kind of get all the way over and see some of those California teams, just because of budgeting and because there isn't necessarily set schedules. But whenever we get those teams, it's so awesome because they don't do things that are different. They do things better. So it's so cool to kind of be able to sit there and witness, and they're big. They're big, and they have such amazing ball control. But if you actually kind of look at the things they're just doing everything so efficiently. And so if we can get to the point where we're that efficient and we have a little bit of that drive, guess what? We're going to be there as well. We're like, it's this close. It's just that little tweak. And we're always looking for those opportunities. We're always pushing and wanting to have those matchups happen.
Of course, what does the recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play beach volleyball?
It's a little bit more difficult, in my opinion, for beach, just because whenever you go to tournaments, you can have 100 courts going, and there's no names. You have no idea where they are. They can switch partners. There's just a lot, and so I know, talking to some other coaches there and club directors and tournament directors, we're trying to figure out different ways to make that a little bit more efficient and easier for coaches just to find players. But lots of really good communication within the club directors is very beneficial. We'll get some profiles, camps and clinics, in my opinion, are the absolute best, because at that point in time we can't interact, and you can be on my court and I can tell you something and you can see how my language is taken and received from that student athlete, because the way that I talk might be completely different from somebody else, and we can say the exact same thing, but it's just a different voice, and for some reason that light bulb went off. So that's my personal favorite, is showcases, clinics, camps, things like that. But there's lots and lots of different avenues and ways to do that. But
As a
tournaments
head
are rough, man.
as a head coach, what are some of the things that you look at in those prospective student athletes when on the road looking at them?
Yeah, fundamentals are huge. So how you kind of compose yourself on the court. Are you stable? Are you moving? Competitive drive and aggressiveness is something that I personally really, really like and look for. And can you get to that level and then still compose yourself and be able to communicate and switch those feelings into something productive, and communicating that and dragging or pulling your partner up with you. Same thing whenever you're off the court. If you're kind of messing around while you're off, and how you interact with your parents do so much for you. They drag you all over the place, and if you're going to be just disrespectful and almost aggressive, in my opinion, like towards your parents, well, then you're not appreciative. You don't have your priorities kind of in check of having a bigger picture in mind. And so some of those things, we're very, very offensively minded. So like a couple of things that we kind of look for, but all the little things matter.
Of course, when those prospective student athletes come on the official visit, what does that look like for those prospective student athletes seeing the facility and seeing the court that they're going to be playing on?
Yeah. Super important to go on visits. Each campus, each school, each program has a different vibe, and we are all about transparency. So whenever you get to campus, you're going to see the good, you're going to see the bad, you're going to see the ugly. No questions are off limits. And we're going to give you the straight up answer, even if it might not be the most flattering. Just because if you get here and you're like, this isn't what they said, then like, why wouldn't we give you all that information? Our campus is gorgeous, I have to say. If you think about what traditional college campus looks like, that's what Conway is, and that's what Central Arkansas is. It's such a pretty campus. So I will say that we have in our favor. Our courts are on campus. We have 3 courts. They're staggered. Again, we're putting lots and lots of love into those courts, and you're spending most of the time with the girls, so you get really, really lots of team time. And I'll tell you, some of the the ideals, the directions, but I'm not the one that matters. I'm not the one that you're going to be spending your time with. So it's pretty great. I love visits. I'm a fave.
Of course, as a head coach, what is it like obviously seeing those freshmen put on that purple Central Arkansas jersey for the first time versus putting it on for the last time as a senior?
I love this question. I think this is such a great question. It's so fun because usually there's tears in the beginning and there's tears at the end. So you put it on and it's just nerves and just the wide-eyed and the butterflies. And there's definitely a speed change coming from juniors to college, and I love seeing it. It's good to still be nervous about things, and then at the end you're crying at the end. You're concerned about that it's not going to be there anymore, and all the work, you can reflect on all the work that you did, and it's okay to be sad and nervous, and it's just it's rough. I think actually worse on the tail end, in that there's just gonna be a huge hole. But both are very, very emotional, in the completely different aspects of your just emotions in general. So I mean that's a great part for collegiate beach and collegiate athletes is you get it all. Yeah.
As a head coach, what was the first time feeling like getting to step on the beach for Central Arkansas and leading that team?
It was kind of like putting on your jersey for the first time. It's you start questioning a little bit, and it's this real moment where like, wow, like I'm here and I made it, and really hoping and wanting for your athletes and trying to figure out how to better help them, because you're quiet on the sidelines. You can only give a little bit of input, and you're just kind of hoping that everything you did up to that point has put them in the right direction to succeed. But it's almost the exact same thing as putting on a jersey for the same time. Like it's so funny. Full circles.
What are some of your future plans for the beach volleyball program?
I have so many plans and wants. So really becoming a place where people want to go and compete, on in beach, and where you can go explore, and then where you can go and play after. Right now, I think it's a little bit of a not thinking that there's an option, whenever you're out of college, and there's so many different ways and avenues that you can continue to play on if you want. And just having that same like pride and push, internally. We've had lots and lots of administrative support, which I love and I appreciate. But I'm here to do things, and I'm here to get athletes who want to do the same thing and are on the same level and have the same goals. We want to be winning conference and be going to the national championships. Like that's one of our goals, and I think it's very doable, if we can get our heads and our goals and the things that we're willing to push and sacrifice for, in alignment. So that's where I'm hoping that we're going to go, and we're working for it.
What advice would you give those college athletes that are entering their freshman year of beach volleyball?
Grind it out. So taking those experiences, ask for help. Ask for help before you actively need it. There's so much being away from your parents. There's so much being probably in a brand new place. It's going to be okay. You're going to have people to help you if you reach out and accept/ask for that help.
What advice would you give those seniors that are leaving and going into playing professionally, whether it's AVP, beach volleyball, or U.S. national team?
Grind it out. And it is possible. Do what's best for you and look at those different options. It's difficult. It can be very, very draining. But find those people who are going to help you get to those goals that you want and work towards that. Again, ask, networking. So be curious and ask about different tournaments. Ask who's going. Carpool. Sharing resources. You don't have to just be in California in order to have a career. It's just more difficult. So, I mean, I appreciate you. If you need anything, let me know, but keep at it.
What advice do you give those future coaches that are looking to get started in coaching in beach volleyball and either becoming an assistant coach or even a head coach running their own program?
Yeah, it's awesome. First, and stick to your guns, and have plans. Right now, have a 5-year plan. Same thing, make connections, ask questions from other people, get different experiences. Some of my favorite things that I've started to realize is pretty much every program has almost the exact same problems, from people who are kind of just starting out to some of the OG programs who are fully funded and have kind of a lot more resources. Those problems, they don't go away. They are just different abilities and resources to approach those problems. But you're not alone, and find your people, because we're all in it and we all want everyone to be successful. Majority.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Central Arkansas Beach Volleyball Program at?
Yeah. So we are hashtag UCA Beach on both Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And then if you want to look at Central Arkansas overall, it's just UCA Athletics. Hashtag UCA Athletics. Social media, not my forte. That would be the girls. And the media department, that is not me. But those are probably the best places to find us.
Thank you again, Coach Cassidi Stabile, for your interview, and best luck in your future as the head beach volleyball coach for Central Arkansas.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Cassidi, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.